Hello and welcome back to Farming Simulator 25 with me, Daddy Jokey. And here is what's happened. And it is really frustrating. So incredibly frustrating. I somehow didn't hit the start recording button when I started recording this episode. So we are starting about half an hour into my recording as it is already. And we're taking a water tanker to what you all haven't seen me actually do, which is super frustrating because I'm just so annoyed with myself over this. Anyway, here we are coming up to an area where I just spent half an hour talking and building a whole new thing. In the last episode, as you remember, we kind of did a little bit of a glow up on this section right here. And between the last episode and this episode, a mod had come out that added these foil tunnels that only cost about $5,000 each. And when I say about, they cost $5,000 each. And then you have to pay for any kind of terraforming. So I spent $10,000 building those greenhouses, or foil tunnels rather. And then I did a little bit of, as you can see, I built a little bit of a path over here and I paved some stuff, removed a few bushes and built a fence. So actually, I still have a little thing to do, which is to pay for, to pay for the fencing and the paving. Maybe another 10,000 would probably be sufficient. And so I'm kind of currently kicking myself in the butt because I messed up. I'm so annoyed about that because I could have sworn I even made like a little flyby intro. Oh, you wouldn't believe this nonsense, man. You wouldn't believe it if I didn't tell you about it. Like, good grief. But anyway, so let me quickly make a Yui over here. This is where I'm probably going to make like a little just gravel path on which to turn around with the water tanker, because otherwise, plan is to add a chicken coop into this grassy area right now, and so this area will become quite tight in the future. Close the gate. And so what we have in this greenhouse, we are growing chili peppers, spring onion, and we're growing Napa cabbage. Our other greenhouse over there is still growing garlic and tomatoes and lettuce. And this boy right here is growing just strawberries. Nothing else but strawberries. So you could see that we're currently growing basically all the produce that we can. And so we could start doing things like we could start producing kimchi on our farm. We could buy a small cannery, because this is not going to produce more so much like product that we would be that it would pay for itself to produce Napa cabbage, or not Napa cabbage, kimchi in like the large cannery where we produced all of the carrots previously. I think it would just be enough to keep us rolling, but I don't really want to do that right now. I don't want to spend that money or time building that, and I am really annoyed with myself for screwing up the recording. But, you know, whatever. Bygones are bygones. We have other things to do in this episode then, and I guess it's going to be a straight up episode of harvesting and potentially baling. The truth is that over there we have our first field of barley ready to be taken down. So we can actually just go straight into that. And I don't know why I keep being in third person mode. Let's do it. Our field, let's look at this one over here, field number 8, is a day... Oh, shoot. I didn't slow the tractor enough. This one, field number 8, is not on the same schedule as that one. It is a day behind. But I don't think I want to wait for it. I think we're just going to harvest one field. And then the next day we're going to harvest the next field. And by then... well, honestly, I don't actually know. It looks like oats are actually pretty ready. Let's quickly check the calendar. No, oats not going to be done until July, so we don't have to worry about that. In the meantime, while we don't have to worry about oats, we're going to harvest our barley. And before we go harvesting, I actually want to test to see that my harvester can flip the pipe over the edge of this trailer. Otherwise, we're going to have to reduce the trailer to the bit without the extension. So let's hop on over into there. I'm hoping it will. but you never know. Oh, is it detached? It is detached. Weird. Actually, probably not that weird. I probably have done that myself. So let's pipe out and see if the pipe angles up a little. It does. So now, how much clearance do we have? Is there enough? Yes, there is definitely enough clearance to do that. I think I should have probably cleaned the trailer. It is filthy. Something fused. Yeah, okay, that clipped a little bit. But it is what it is. And we don't need to worry about dragging this header with us anywhere, so we can just disconnect it right there and go ahead and plug in with our lovely Western combine, a Massey Ferguson, or I guess Massey, not Ferguson yet, 8570. I am looking forward to actually updating to a larger combine sometime in the future. Let's hop in the cab so we can connect to this. So we need to head to the left a little bit, to the right a bit more. Bam. That connects so nicely. Alright, let's take that. Let's not just break that reflector and tail light on the trailer. Let's take that out to the field and then get cranking on it. Yeah, I'm actually wondering. I'm probably gonna hose down that trailer first, now that I think about it. I just don't like how filthy it is. I know it doesn't change anything, but we were ferrying all kinds of nonsense in it, and I don't know that we would put grain in a dirty trailer like that. It's not really dirty with anything too toxic. Like, essentially, we just had some rocks in it earlier, and then we had a bunch of logs in it, so it's not, you know, like, it's not like we carried manure in it, and now we want to wash that out to put grain for people to eat. But let's pretend that we did this earlier, and yes, it would probably need a lot more time to drain and we can get in there and dry out before we put grain in it, so that we don't actually make our grain wet. That would be stupid. But you know, we can just we can tip it. We can tip it, and look, it's June 1. It is 90. It's gonna be 93. I think this water would dry out in a matter of minutes, right? If we didn't leave, you know, 2 inches of water sitting in there. So we'll just tip it. Turn the. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, let's see if we can turn if we can turn it off when it's at fully extended level, and then we'll actually go ahead and drive it around so that it is facing the sunshine. And bam, turn the engine. Oh, it'll go down. You know what? That's fine. I don't really understand why it would when we turn the engine off. The hydraulics should keep it extended, but such is life in Farming Simulator. Sometimes it does things you don't know, or you don't expect, or you don't want to. And we'll move on to... Ooh, shoot. What did I hit? The fence, didn't I? Idiot. I think I might get rid of that in the future. It is a little bit goofy. It's limiting our ability to drive wide vehicles through there. And here we go. And so, back to those greenhouses. Yeah, good luck with that, Bob. About those greenhouses, the reason I set the production up the way it is I don't want to produce kimchi just yet. And I figured this way, it diversifies our production, right? Now we are producing every single produce you can get in Farming Simulator. And so when we take our stuff, okay, well, you can make that turn. Now we're producing all the things, and so we're basically covered, right? Like if you know, tomatoes catch if tomatoes catch a blight or whatever, we still have all the other produce. We're not reliant on just one thing. So we're gonna lower the header. We're gonna cut into the field just so we can get in there. And then, yeah, we're chopping the straw, which is less than ideal. We're actually not gonna be doing that. We're gonna definitely be doing bales. I just want to make sure that we do that right, because there's a lot of stuff now Enable straw swath. Bam, there we go. And you can tell when that's enabled because of the little ducktail that comes out. Okay, we want to be on the outside of the harvest. I know I'm currently harvesting grass. It is what it is. So here we go. Straw swath enabled. It's looking a bit sketchy if you ask me, but it is what it is. And here we go. Harvest of year 3 is upon us. And it is filling up fast. Look at that, already 7%. I mean, this field is fully fertilized and everything. I think it was also mulched because we had the canola on there, which just gets chopped straight up. So, you know, this field right now is, I don't actually know, it's 100% fertilized plus 2 or 5 extra percent of yield because of the what do they call it, the mulching, because it's mulched. And I think we had it all lined and we had it all plowed, and like this field, I think it's just short of perfect because it doesn't have, it's not rolled, which I think adds another 5%. But basically we are at almost maximum potential yield, and it didn't get damaged by any storms like it did previous year. Previous year there was a lot of hail that damaged. Oh, actually no, look at that, there is a hole right there. Well, whatever. We're still getting maximum yield. Like, there is no other way that we can get any higher than this, other than to add rolling into the scenario. In which case, I'm not actually sure when that should be done. Like, I don't know that you roll crop fields, you know. As ever, with farming, in Farming Simulator at least, you have to sort of balance or take into account the amount of effort and cost that it's going to cost you for that extra yield, right? And so if you count cost of diesel, if you count, you know, maintenance on your vehicle, if you count buying the machine that you need for a specific job, that should all come into sort of a, you know, rough estimate at the very least of whether or not something is worth doing, right? So, for instance, is it worth mulching the crops if you have to buy a machine and then drive a tractor for mere 2%, or, you know, even 5% still? Is it worth it? I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm gonna do it just because it enables me to do a little bit more, get a little bit more grain out of it. But on the whole, I'm not sure that it is. And so it's always a consideration when you're doing anything in Farming Simulator, right? How much time is it going to take to pay for itself? If you buy a $36,000 greenhouse, how long is it going to be before you pay for that greenhouse with the produce from that greenhouse, right? So you could say, well, it doesn't matter because we can, you know, if I sell all of my barley, I'm going to get $36,000 back, so I can pay for the greenhouse using the barley. Okay, fair enough, but then what's paying for you to have put the barley in the ground, right? Like, you already have an overhead, I guess you would call it. You already have overhead on the barley. You used fertilizers, you used diesel to plant it, you used diesel to prepare the field, and so you already have an overhead on having produced the barley, and so the barley can't carry the weight of that by itself, right? You can't, like, you have to be looking at how much is it gonna cost and how fast is it gonna pay for itself, right? Which is why I wanted those foil tunnels, those $5,000 foil tunnels, which is honestly a little bit more in line with the cost of all of that, I think, than $36,000. Those foil tunnels are gonna pay for themselves, you know, like that first round of crops sold from those things is going to pay for them, right? We still have to, and actually, as soon as we're full over here and we have to go get the tractor, I'm going to do the thing and pay for the fencing and the paving, because I forgot to do that, and I want to put another $10,000 away for that. And so we're coming up on being full. And all it took is one headland, essentially, or 1.5 headland. And we are gonna go ahead and stop right there somewhere. It's gonna be 7,800 liters. Bam. I'm gonna back it up a little bit more so I don't miss anything. Put the engine out. And then we're gonna go into our power tools and add and remove money and go minus 10,000. Bob's your uncle. So we just paid for the fencing and for all the paving. Now let's go and grab our tractor, and after I'm done dumping the grain, or even before maybe, we'll see, I'm gonna do the rest in a time lapse so that we're not spending 7 days over here watching me harvest grain, as enjoyable as it is. Maybe you find my voice soothing. This is a thing that I think makes or breaks a YouTube channel. People think it's content. I think it's the presenter. It's the voice. That's why a lot of British YouTubers are so successful. I think it's less about what they're doing, although that definitely plays a very big role in it, and more about the fact that it's just nice to listen to them, you know? Like sometimes I'm listening to a YouTuber, I don't even need to watch it. I'm just listening to them talk, and it's nice and soothing. And if you're watching like a video game, it could be a little bit weird because you're like, well, you're not watching them play, you're just listening to them talk about what they're playing, and it's like, well, why not, you know? Me, for instance, I am a stay-at-home dad currently, and so I don't get much adult interaction, and so having another adult talk at me, and all I have to do is listen, is nice. That and audiobooks are what's keeping me sane right now. Blessed are the women who have been doing this for centuries. If you may have noticed, I don't know if anybody really did, but you may have noticed that my smoke coming out of the tractor is a bit darker than it was in the past. And that is because I downloaded another mod, right? Everything that's different is because of a mod. Hello. Power up and dump it. I downloaded a mod that makes smoke darker for older vehicles. So if you have like a 2025 tractor in your game, smoke is going to be nice and clear because it's using latest technologies and Death Blue and all that nonsense to make sort of a less environmentally impactful emissions out of your vehicle. But because we're driving all this old stuff, both the harvester and this tractor should have a pretty dark smoke coming out of it. So, if you've noticed that, good on you. If you haven't, who cares really? It's just a small visual detail that I think adds to the fidelity of the game. Why that's not the case from the beginning, honestly, I don't know. I think we're not gonna go into another ragging on giants kind of thing, but I think it's because giants don't care. Right? I think we've reached a state of affairs where this is basically FIFA. This is basically Electronic Arts, EA Sports, incremental changes, sometimes rollback of changes so they can be reintroduced 2 years in the future, and improvement, not much of. And this is not to say that they're not improving the game and that the game isn't necessarily, it's not fun to play anymore, but I think they're too close to the game. They're too in their track. They don't necessarily want to touch the core systems and change them too much because it may alienate other players, and I'm like, not really. I don't think it would alienate anybody who plays Farming Simulator if you guys went and did some actual meaningful changes. And if it does, so what? Other people will come in and play the game where other people leave and stop playing the game, right? Yeah. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Let me kick this into gear, and so here's the predicament right now. Right now we're sitting at 20 minutes of recording time of me just talking straight through. There isn't any time lapses. There isn't any skip time, fade to blacks type things. This is just straight 20 minutes of me having talked. And so we have about 10 to 15 minutes of what I ideally like an episode to be. And all we really have is this and then bailing. And so the question is, should I do a time lapse? And then we get to do the bailing in this episode as well. Or should I just not and just talk while I'm harvesting about things that come to my mind? I don't know. The truth is that I don't want the straw to be sitting out too long, even though we're gonna have to do the same thing on field number 8 over there. The truth is that my worry is that the weather is gonna turn, even though currently it's not saying anything. I didn't actually check the forecast, and we do have to wait for the other barley field to grow at least one more day, so at least today, and then hopefully it'll be ready tomorrow, so like mid-June. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. Because this field also isn't very big, so if I did a time lapse, it would be like a 3-minute one. So yes, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do a 3-minute time lapse, and then we will get to do the bailing in this episode as well. Cool? Cool. Alright. Enjoy the song. Alright, I think this is where I'm gonna call the time lapse for now, because we have a full combine and we have a full trailer and we have a tiny tractor struggling to pull the load. But basically, the question I have is, well, it's not a question, it's a decision, I guess. The decision is we can take all the grain directly to grain mill and have it milled for flour. And that way we get a head start on that instead of waiting until we have all of the barley to ship it there. Or we could just dump it all in our silo so that we could marvel at the incredible volume of barley we've produced when we actually put everything in. And I'm kind of undecided on that. I'm really, you know, on the one hand, if we get a head start on making the flour, that's earlier, that's all gonna get sold. On the other hand, seeing a large number on our little dashboard there is also cool. So, you know, I'm currently undecided. I think this is what I think. Well, I don't know. I was gonna say, I think if we were harvesting both fields at the same time, then it would be sensible to take it directly to the mill. But as we're not, we're going to wait until the second field is harvested to take it there. We can pretend that maybe we took a sample to the mill so that they could give us an estimate on what we're gonna get paid for it if it's good grade barley. A side note, barley flour, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that that's a super common thing. I think maybe the game should have rye as well as barley, because barley really is something you would use for beer production. Yeah, whoopsie daisy, we're crashing into our spout over there. As it is right now, the game doesn't feature beer production, and I don't remember seeing any mods, so you won't really find alcohol production on the official mod hub, I don't think. My guess would be that they're being iffy about it because various countries' alcohol licensing laws and all of that nonsense were like, if you show alcohol, that's a bad thing, so we're gonna reduce your game's rating. So I think they might not even allow that on their mod hub, even though they're not responsible for mods, which is weird. But so you're gonna have to go fishing around something like, you know, other unofficial mod hubs if you wanted alcohol production, which honestly, I mean, it would be kind of fun to have beer production and being able to make, like, you know, local craft beer that we then sell at a farmer's market as another thing that our farm produces. So maybe I'll look into it. Are we in the... Nope, we're in the tractor again. Let's hop on in here, finish up this field, and then we are gonna go ahead and take it from there. And, you know, if I really wanted to see the number, I could just take notes, because the trailer is pretty good at telling us how much exactly we got, right? The trailer is 22,500 liters. We filled it up once. We will probably fill it up halfway this time. I think this is going to be at most one full hopper, but probably not even that. And then we're going to be able to hit the field with our baler. Let's fire it up and go. No more music. Just gonna have to listen to that engine purr. And more so you than me, because in the interest of not having stuff echoing into my microphone, and I don't use headphones, my speakers are so low that I actually feel like I play this game without sound, which is a little bit of a loss. But, you know, I hear it all when I have to edit the video anyway, so whatever. But yeah. So beer production, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, I mean, well, maybe not unfortunately. I guess you could ask a brewer to brew you a beer. Obviously, you would pay them for it without having grown your own hops, because that's a whole different beast. If you've ever seen a hop farm or like a field of hops, those things grow on essentially artificial vines. You build these like almost like a gantry made out of wood, and then wires hang, or wires are like run between the different posts to create. It essentially kind of looks like a vineyard, except taller than the combine. And so that's not something that we currently have in Farming Simulator, and I doubt we ever will because of the aforementioned reasons of alcohol licensing, or not licensing, alcohol causing rating downgrades, even though, you could argue, hey, we added hops into the game and your ability to harvest hops, but we didn't actually give you any means of producing beer, so you can't come at us. That, I don't know. I'm of the mind that people should be pushing law wherever they can. Like, nothing. How am I trying to phrase this? Everything is permitted until somebody tells you to stop it, essentially. If that makes sense. So, like, if you're worried about, oh no, we're gonna get downgraded in so-and-so country to non-PG or whatever the rating is, E for everyone type thing, because we are growing hops. Well, why aren't you getting downgraded for growing barley? Beer is made out of barley. Hey, beer is made out of wheat. Why are barley and wheat in the game, right? If you don't have the actual production, then you can't argue that you're doing that, right? So in my opinion, one of the things that Giants should be doing every time they release a new game, and they are doing it. If you look at the trajectory since about FS15, they are adding new crops into the game with every iteration. But I don't think they should hamstring themselves by some silly nonsense about, this and this country reducing the rating of their game. Particularly, this is why, and this is the thing that I find the silliest about it, particularly because it's not like anybody cares, right? Like, when was the last time you were like, oh no, this game is rating M for mature, I guess I won't play it, right? And any fears of like, well, parents aren't gonna want their kids to play that, I'm like, listen, other than some really, really annoying parents out there in the world who are all about their kids' business, no parent actually checks what their kid does on their computer. Like, nobody cares, man. Parents are busy. Parents don't have time. So long as you're not showing porn in your video game, they won't care. So you're producing beer in your Farming Simulator. Big whoop. People who say they don't drink have at least done it in the past once. Just because they don't like it doesn't mean that everybody else should stop. Right? Like, my view on this is that they could have easily had wine production. They could have incorporated, like, that whole hostlery business of vineyards. And parents wouldn't care. So what that the game got rated something else? Like, do you think kids really play Farming Simulator? It's too slow-paced, man. Dads play Farming Simulator. People 20 and older play Farming Simulator, not 12-year-olds. 12-year-olds couldn't give a toss. My little 3-year-old watches Farming Simulator when I play. He lasts 5 minutes, and only because he really likes tractors. Right? And so if somebody's kid plays Farming Simulator, they can avoid the air quotation marks inappropriate things that their parents don't find they should be doing. Right? Like, oh, well, I don't want you producing beer because we don't like alcohol. What did freaking do? It's a virtual freaking game. Get a life or something, you know? Like, I don't think, and this is my honest opinion, I don't think Giants would lose any money if the game got rated not E. If it got rated 12 and up. If it got rated 15 and up. They wouldn't lose any ratings. Nobody cares, man. Steam doesn't enforce the stuff. They go, hey, are you 18? And you go, yeah, I was born in 1935. And they go, alright then, enjoy your game. Despite the fact that if you were born in 1935, you probably don't really play video games all that much. Right? They don't care. It's all the same to them. And so if you're worried about some, you know, anyway, enough of that. Enough of that nonsense. We finished harvesting the field. We're gonna mount the header on here. The reason being that I don't know if this should be parked with the header on it. So we're just gonna dunk it on there. And I'm gonna go and put the combine and the header under cover. Just in case it hails. We don't want it getting dinged up. So we're gonna push up all the way there. And actually, this area is gonna become where we're gonna store all of our bales. Maybe. I have actually yet to make a decision on that, because we also do have a barn made for that purpose. But I use it to store machinery and a lot of our production. So I'm actually not sure at the moment if that's what I want to do. Let's skip me walking back. Hop into the tractor and take away another 52% fullness. So that's 11,700, and let's call it 50 so I don't have to deal with the 49, plus 22,500. So that would make that, what is that? 32,500, 33,500, 34,249. Okay. 34,000 400 and no, whatever I said below. My memory is like a sieve when it comes to numbers or anything really. So hopefully we'll double that with our barley field over there, and so that's gonna be, let's say, a nice 70,000 liters about average of what we're gonna produce from our farm. And so that's gonna make a nice bunch of flour. Yeah, that'll be good. It'll be good for us. So then let's quickly see where we're at. I'm worried that I might not have enough time for the baling one way or another in order to keep the video at a reasonable length. So maybe we'll just save that for the next one. Maybe we will just take the header undercover using our tractor, and then we'll call it good there. I think so. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'd rather a shorter episode that people don't get bored with than an extremely long episode that involves multiple types of farming, which is interesting, but also long. So yeah, so I think that's what we're gonna do. Bam. Leave that right there. It is a little bit haphazard. Kind of crooked and everything, but whatever. And then we're just pop the trailer undercover as well. It's kind of silly, I know. I should have probably done that in a different order. But it is what it is. So yes, so we have produced... Let's actually verify that my math was right. We can just check now that I've dumped it in. Where be the... There it is. We have 35,730... Well, I guess we can't check. I forgot that we had the old barley in there still from the previous year 1 harvest, which, gross. That's gotta be moldy. But let's pretend it isn't. It's really, honestly, that is part of why I want to get rid of that chicken coop, because we put 5,000 liters of grain for 30 chickens and it is still there since year 1, and that's a little bit too much for me to suspend my disbelief with. So yes, so next episode we will hop on the baler, bale that field, then move on the time to the next day and harvest that one and bale that one. Bam bam shazam. It should be all good. I thank you so much for watching. Say hi to Walter over here. If you liked the episode, feel free to leave a like. Definitely leave a comment. And if you like subscribing to channels, subscribe to my channel. It's all the same to me ultimately, but, you know, do it if you wanna. Bye for now.